Hello, everyone. There are three key takeaways that I want to share with you, and one is trustworthiness. And what that mean, obviously, trust is credibility, and credibility is one of the really important criteria when it comes to building relationship and maintaining the relationship and really trusting other people, right? And this week, actually, I've come across some people, and that reminded me of this Luke chapter 16, verse 10. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much, and whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. So when enter into a new relationship and I don't know that person yet, right? One of the very important factor for everyone is whether it's trustworthy based relationship, right? And how we can discern is through whether their words are backed up by their actions, right? And let's say, for example, when I say, "Oh, I'm going to deliver it by Friday," then that means I'm going to deliver it by Friday or even ahead of time because that's my credibility, that's my trust, and that's the word that I actually proclaim and the words that I shared with you, right? And that's the trust factor. And let's say if something happened, of course, you can communicate that and make an adjustment. And that's totally acceptable because there's communication. And so if just a little tiny thing, oh, I'm going to show up tomorrow. And let's say if that didn't happen with no communication whatsoever and ghosted, then that's a signal. So I gave that person three times because maybe there can be a life incident, maybe there can be, things that you don't know, right? Because nobody knows what they're going through. So um, I give this time, yes, that time, yes, another time, but it was three strike, no, no, no. So and then I realized, okay, I, yeah, I don't think that's a good relationship to enter because it's been already proven that it's not really trustworthy. And I don't want to be always like unpredictably ghosted, right? And unfortunately, that person was Christian, and so I don't even judge people by religion or their belief system because it's more of one's personality and their maturity and their character. And it's also nothing to do with age, and it's also nothing to do with their background or social status. So yeah, and that really was the alarming that that and also a reminder that little is the greatest thing and little is the great indicator of big thing, because if you're not faithful with little, then that means you're not going to be faithful with big things, right? And this comes down to also if you're in a waiting season, maybe that's the reason why you're asking for, let's say, bigger portion, or you're waiting for something better, whatever you define the bigger and better. But let's say God is delaying that, or God is not really releasing that thing that you're praying for. Maybe it's because you're not ready for that. You're not, maybe there should be more preparation season. Maybe that's why. And if it's too quick, then it's not really, you're not really matured enough to handle things. So maybe that's why. And yeah, I wanted to share this trustworthiness, and Faithful with little, because that's the indicator of what your behavior and what your capacity and capability would be like when it comes to big thing when it's given to you. So whatever you do, whether it's a small word or any small promise that you made with your neighbor or with yourself even, keep it up. Follow through, act upon it. And another Bible verses that I want to share with you is Hebrews chapter 5, verse 8 to 10. Son though he was, he learned obedience from what he suffered. And once made perfect, he became the source of eternal salvation. For all who obey him was designated by God to be high priest in the order of Melchizedek. I don't even know what this is, but sorry, guys. So, my key point here is obedience, suffered, perfect for eternal salvation. And when we think of Christ, his obedience led his suffering, died on the cross, and the Bible says, and that made perfect, because Christ, even though he didn't really want to be on the cross for us, he did it, and that made every of God's will and purpose fulfilled and perfect, right? So when I meditated this word, this is the nature of actually Christianity. So it's not always like pinkish, all prosperity and thriving mode, but at the same time, there is this suffering season, a lot of suffering, because if that's part of God's plan. And this actually balances it off, because if, let's say, if Christianity is all about thriving and prosperity, then there's no us, there's no salvation, there's no eternal glory, because through Christ's sacrifice, his death, which is his 100% suffering, then there's no us, there's no salvation, there's no saving us. So now I feel that God is making me perfect, because through a lot of sufferings. And I'm honestly sharing my story, and the reason why is because I feel that when you are going through your suffering season, it's because he is in the process of preparing you. And even though you may interpret it as setback, he is setting it up for your preparation for the next season to prepare you. And think of the pregnant woman and who is about to deliver the baby, the very, very intense labor and the pain and the suffering that she needs to go through. What does that tell you? What does that mean to you? It's about the victorious moment. It's about time. The more resilient, the more resistance, and the more storms in your life, that means you're that closer to the victorious moment. To see the baby, to see that glorious, to see that perfection moment. So I am not sure, and I don't know who I am talking to, but I'm pretty sure this message is for you. And storms after storms and another test after another test is preparation, and you're even closer, so close to that breakthrough, so close to that breakthrough. And his time, at his timing, he will reveal that. I hope this episode was helpful. If it was, and if something stood out to you, share the comments and follow us on Instagram at fitwell.to. And thank you so much. And click the subscribe buttons because that really helps us to create more quality content. And thank you so much. And we'll connect very shortly.